evening and welcome to the Joust for the very last time, Jousters. I'm usually joined by my co-host Liam McNeil, but he's ascended away to a different continent. But in a very, very well-fitted replacement, I have a good friend of the show, Adam Murray. Adam, welcome to the show.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. But yeah, it does feel a bit empty without Liam, but I don't think I'll ever fill the void.
He's left his shoes parked under the table so you can slip your feet into them. Yeah, there they are. There. It's look, we thought we'd give one show just to sort of, as we sail into the sunset, as you know, as what's that? The god that flew too close to the sun. Icarus. Much like that, the Newcastle Knights, you know, we saw finals, we burned up, and then we plummeted straight back to earth, right where we belong. But it was a year of highs and lows, and we thought it would give you a show just to look back on some of those highs, lows, and some of the more lows, but also looking forward to Origin as well. We have so much to look forward to, and that we basically propel back into the season. It's a wonderful cycle that we've got ourselves stuck in with a whole lot of football.
Do like it.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah, you've covered it.
And thanks for joining us for another week on the Joust. We'll see you next year. There was an interesting game in the fact that I think the hopes of the town were on the team, and there was moments there where we thought maybe we've done it. Maybe the Knights are going to start pushing and being that final side that we really wanted. Did you always sniff a bit of an upset, Adam?
I did sniff a bit of an upset. Just leading up to the whole game, you had the fans on the sideline at Wall's End cheering the boys on. I was just thinking to myself, is this 97 all over again?
Echoes of 97.
Yeah. Echoes of 97. Obviously, reporting on the game. Obviously, the start of the game. 14-0. Cut my hand. I was that excited.
Yeah. Self-harming, or this is...
it was almost self-harm.
An accidental cut off the hand.
A lot of people say, oh, did you do that when the Knights were losing? And I was like, no, it was when they were winning. I was slamming the table just in excitement, especially when Bradman Best was flying up the... Bradman Beast, that's what I call him.
Isn't he just? And you know, there are, as far as people, you know, highlights for the year, Bradman Best has to be up there. You know, and we did show, much like the whole season, we showed moments of looking like a top four side, looking like we could do anything. But over the course of 80 minutes, it wasn't to be, and I found myself split in half. I found myself, firstly, getting really agitated, saying, well, you know, this is we shouldn't have lost the game by that amount. It should have been a whole lot closer. This was 6th playing 7th, and then immediately sort of almost as my split personality has developed, I started making excuses, saying, oh well, you know, we played 5 or 6 hookers, and Pearce didn't have anyone to really match up with, and their 6 got changed moments before the game. Dickie Nee was, you know, shown the door. Maybe he couldn't get up the stairs of the bus, we don't know. I didn't know who to blame but myself, and I think I took a lot of the brunt as well. How did you cope with the loss?
I feel like I did the exact same thing. At first, very angry person. Kind of took it on a lot of other people. I try not to display my anger, but I was quite angry at that moment, and
take it all the anger in the hand.
At that time, I was like, you know what, that should have been the loss. And then at the same time, I started to go, you know what. The boys really had a good go this year.
They did.
They've got to the finals. They did what the fans asked them to do. And the Rabbitohs side, obviously a really good side. But speaking about the injuries, there's so many injuries, and throughout the year, so many different changes. Kurt Mann was our number 6. He ended up playing hooker, and then he was coming off the bench. Everything's happening.
Thrown around, it was almost, you know, like we've put all the team in a cup, give it a shake, and we just spew it on the table and go, wherever you lie, that's your position for this week. It was a hard season to follow, but also it came out obviously through only a few rounds ago about the struggles of the players being in the bubble, and especially Kurt Mann playing so well and being away from his mother, and who's in Queensland as well. Like it's like being away from the mother that you feel closer to geographically. Like she's not only you got no contact, and
she's almost in a different country now.
Yeah, basically, the borders are shut, and it would have had a huge toll on, I think, a lot of players, just being stuck away from their family and friends, and it would have been rough over the course of basically 6 months. So. We just watched Mitchell Pearce drop the ball. So it sort of tore me up inside on this game in particular. However, when you start to look at the season as a whole and what the goals were at the beginning of the season, I think if you told me coming into round 1 that we'll finish 7th and make the finals, it would have been a nice warm feeling, because that was never a certainty.
No, definitely not. I would have taken 8th.
Yeah.
Like 7th. Okay, yeah, that's better than 8th. So it's incredible stuff. How even at the start of the year we lost so many people. Well, that game against
The Bulldogs?
The Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a sniper there in the
Yeah.
stands, and he took out a few.
And even the Panthers game when we had Pierce concussion.
Connor Watson getting his syndesmosis.
It just, those days for the Newcastle, just it's like the rugby league gods, as they say, just go, no, not today.
Not today, not this year, guys. But I'll tell you what, it was the pass mark continued to rise higher for our expectations. I think beginning of the season, it was just making the finals. There was moments sort of in the middle where we're like, oh no, we have to be top 4 now. If we looked at our form honestly into the last month, when we knew that would have to be some sort of miracle to push our way through the finals and beat sides that are in form. So we were relying on the bad luck of other sides to really be able to make a dent, and winning against South would have just said, well, how far can we go? And as soon as that loss happened, we're brought back down to earth. It wasn't our year, but that we showed enough signs that I'm confident for the future. What are your thoughts?
I think it is good signs. I did hear Michael Ennis did say his expert opinion.
Yes.
One of the most switched on brains in the NRL.
He knows how to find a club to play for.
Yeah,
He had no dramas for that.
And Newcastle boy himself, actually.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he's probably got a little soft spot for Newcastle. He was saying he believes that a few of the players didn't buy in, but then Cooper Cronk comes in and says, well, they've gone to Adam O'Brien. Might have trained them a little bit too hard, because he said he's a very hard man. And another preseason under him, more K's in their legs.
Yes,
might be better off in the long run.
Now it was I think so. I think we're on the upward trajectory, and I feel like that's not the same that could be said about a lot of teams at the moment. I think that you look at the teams that didn't make the finals, and you start to think. You start to think, well, what do they got to do? Where the piece is not working there? Is it just, if there's injury concerns, like a team like Manly, where everyone seemed to be dropping off, and they're paying all this money for someone like Trbojevic, and you can't stay on the field. So
got Danny Levi.
And they got Danny Levi, of course, so we may or may not be there next year. Apparently, Kieran Foran's going to play hooker, but we can get into that a little bit later. But it places a lot of pressure on these sides to climb up and get to where we are at 7th, where we're looking further up and how we can make the top 4. It was a season of highs and lows, but I feel like finishing the way we did with the loss to the Titans and the loss to South, you forget about those wonderful highs that we had in the middle. Did you have a game that really stood out for you, Adam?
Early on, it was definitely the Panthers draw. I don't think I'd ever say as a Knights fan, how good was that draw? Yeah. I've never ever wanted to say that, but I feel like that was a game where I thought, this is a different Newcastle Knights side that we've seen in previous years.
Gritty, wasn't it? It was gritty, yeah.
And I could say a number of games where we blew teams off the park, but I think that game was the one where I was like, there's a few people standing up that I haven't seen stand up in previous years.
Yeah.
And it's one of those games where other players in other NRL teams, if they're thinking of going to another club, they're like, I might want to play with those guys. They seem like nice guys.
Especially when you look at where how Penrith went, only losing one and drawing one, and we were the draw.
Yeah.
So it was quite an accomplishment to really put a dent in that Panthers side. Obviously not be able to knock them off, but apparently no one could knock them off besides Parramatta on that sultry evening. There's Liam. What did you? We've got Liam McNeil here by correspondence. Liam, what did you feel about the game when you were watching it?
262 went down by 161.
Yeah. Classic.
Fair enough, yeah.
Classic McNeil, I'll tell you what.
I missed the guy.
Yeah, doesn't he? May he rest in peace. There's the games for me that really stood out. I think there was the 2 wins against Manly. That only by 2 points, because God, it's wonderful to beat Manly. And I know they had a string of bad form leading into the end, but they were fighters in a side that was ravaged by injury. And I think both wins we got over by 2 points. I think I was both quite intoxicated watching, and I was really those were the games that we needed to win in the middle of the season to make the finals, to even to build that journey, to even climb up into the 8. And they weren't easy games. And so those two are something that we can put in the back of the mind. And next time we play Manly next year, they're going to have memories of, the Knights beat us twice last year. And we start to shift that image of being the easy beat.
It's not something that a lot over the years with the Newcastle Knights have been able to say, you know what, we beat you twice last year.
Yeah.
it's normally we lost to you twice.
We let you play yourselves into form against us.
It's mind games in the NRL. The NRL
Absolutely.
is a game of minds. So.
There's
There's nothing to do with what they do on the football pitch. It's all in the mind.
It's all it's more of a cloudy mind. It's not necessarily an intellectual game, but it's more of it is a game of the appearance of sides being great, and we saw the Broncos plummet to earth, and that was made all the more better because of the appearance of the Broncos club being so fantastic. To watch them, crash and burn was wonderful. But the Roosters just have this sort of appeal, and even for last year was sort of Canberra had this sort of sheen of invincibility, and of course the Melbourne Storm just always look bulletproof.
Yeah.
But why? Their roster has completely changed. They still manage
There just seems to be some type of system they've got there that I hope Adam O'Brien was taking notes while he was down there, and he's just thinking to himself, don't want to give too much away in the first year.
Yeah.
Now the second year, the system is about to come out. It's the Newcastle Knights system now. It's no longer the Melbourne Storm system.
Yeah, that's right. And Bellamy could, is he going to Brisbane? Is he going to retire?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm still looking to find out why Craig Bellamy is only 2 years younger than Phil Gould, and no one's talking about this. No one.
I actually didn't ever know that.
There's only 2 years between the men, and who's stonewalling this investigation? I want to know. There must be something going on.
Craig Bellamy could coach forever.
Yeah.
Look at Wayne Bennett.
Exactly right.
That's when everyone's talking about like Craig Bellamy, his contract's coming up after 2 years. I'm just like, why?
Why? What possibly could he be doing? That's, obviously it's stressful. You see him in the box and he's throwing and he's spitting and he's cursing. But, I do that at home. That's my outside of work time. But
maybe Craig Bellamy just doesn't want to look like Wayne Bennett when he gets older.
Well, that's Wayne, has never looked like a young man.
No.
But
even when he was young.
He didn't really look young. No, that's it. He was a police officer before that. Can we get a shot of Phil Gould up there just to show what age really can do to someone?
It's the pressure in the box. Yeah. It's the pressure as the commentator. Phil Gould, all those years of walking around the goalposts before State of Origin, which we'll probably talk about later.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And obviously the hair change, which is he going for the caramel swirl? Is he going for the Maxwell Sheffield? Is he going for the complete white where you can see 90% of his skull? And you don't really know.
Makes him look pretty good, I reckon.
For what? For his age?
It makes him look pretty good.
That one, yeah, but if we go, maybe find the one with his completely white. Well, when he had colour in his hair, he didn't look too bad. The completely white hair, the Santa Claus, the Tim Allen, if you will, looks absolutely terrible. But again, him and Craig Bellamy, similar in age. How is it possible? There's a few players that I think for the Knights that really stood up, and I like to think of it more of when you're playing under 11s rugby league, and there's an award ceremony at the end because it doesn't matter where you finish on the ladder, everyone still gets a trophy saying you played, but there's always a few awards, and one of those I think is one that I received in under 15s, but it's just quite late to be still receiving that kind of award, is most improved.
Yeah. You're under 15s, I was under 16s most improved. So let's not downplay that award. It is a big award. So, it didn't say worst player. It said most improved.
So who was your most improved for this year?
Look, a lot of people might say Kurt Mann was their best player of the year.
Yep.
I think he's the most improved.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll give him. He could potentially even be the best player. I would say Kurt Mann is my most improved because he did things I didn't expect he could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the talk about him going to 5'8" at the start of the year, what even says fullback on the NRL.com, so that shows his versatility. So at the start of the year, 5'8", and all I was thinking in my head is like, okay, is he the next Sean Rudder?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like he did produce the Sean Rudder quality, just did his job, and let Mitchell Pearce do the work when he needed it. So, I'd say Kurt Mann is probably my most improved and scored some really good tries as well.
6 tries, I believe, for the season. 8 try assists, 5 line breaks, and managed 20 appearances, which is the most important in a team that was ravaged by injury. If we lost him as well, when he was going from 5 at the hooker, it would have been disastrous for us. if you look at his season last year, filling in at fullback against the Broncos last year, playing games on the wing, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to then be thrown in the middle, and then again as your playmaker, that game against Penrith where he was playing both halves.
Yeah.
How does he do it?
He was the half.
He was. He completely carried the team on multiple occasions, and just seemed to play out of his skin, almost as if he's effort over ability. You know what I mean? Like he manages to supercharge his effort to play well above his weight and his natural talent, and doesn't rely on anything. And he's truly been the linchpin of this side, I think.
Definitely.
But yeah, great call for most improved. For me, it was someone that was on the up until last year, and then had the off-field incident in Jacob Saifidi.
Forgot all about that, man. Oh my God, you've just blown my mind.
And then you have he got given an opportunity in the middle of the season to come in for Daniel, who I know they're genetically identical and they should be on even platforms.
Was it Daniel?
Yeah,
That's the question.
Yeah,
it could have still been Daniel.
Could they just get the same haircut, and then if one gets suspended, you just put the other one in and change the name? But he managed to come from bench role to a starting role. Score some tries. How many? He got 3 tries this year, but play majority of the games. How many games did he play? If you scroll up, sorry, Pom.
21 games.
So that's the entirety of the season. So where his brother sort of was breaking down, he managed to fill his shoes, which is ironic because they wear the same size boot, and continue on the form that Daniel set. Only for Daniel to come back and him to drop back to the bench as well. But obviously, it's your brother. If you're going to drop back to the bench for anyone,
yeah, that's your brother.
It would be your brother. So. Most improved, I think, for those two standouts as well. There was a host of players that we could mention as far as players that get. If we're going to bring positives into this year, I think there's been no year that we've blooded as many juniors /local juniors, however you want to frame them, into the side at 1 year, and they all seem. Like
they just fit it into place. They just the next piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. So if we go through the list as far as we'll start at like Phoenix Crossland, who I believe has played before, but really continuously played first grade this year as a bench hooker, filling that dreaded number 9, even though he was wearing more like number 14.
Yeah.
What did you think of Phoenix?
I really liked Phoenix. He was another surprise packet of Adam O'Brien's mind. You're going to play dummy half.
Yeah.
And I always knew he was a half, but we're coming into dummy half, got a good pass, which is what you need.
Yeah.
And he has bulked up a lot. Like, seeing him in person, he has bulked up. And he made his tackles when he came on. He did his job. And
in the middle, this guy that was, I don't know, sub 90 kilos, he just didn't, it was 86 kilos at 20 years old. And he just seems to fit right in. I think that's what, if you can comment on O'Brien's game or team management of this, is injecting these players in when they've been needed, and as you said, very likable guy. He just seems like everyone's like, hope he sticks around. Yeah. And we'll touch this on in a moment as far as players that we can keep and whatnot. But so Tex Hoy being the second, and again, it was almost, if he was to win an award, I almost this year would be like something I want to see more of him. I almost want him to be doing more. Yeah. He showed these moments of. He had the Fred Astaire flip onto the try, which was just led against Parramatta, where he made it completely back to his feet with a cane in his hand and one of those hats, and he was wearing suspenders. But how does he do it? Scoring that try against the Cowboys of Lachlan Fitzgibbon,
great support play.
And it just
let's not forget he played in that game against Penrith because Kalen Ponga was out
at fullback,
played at fullback, and then we lose Mitchell Pearce. You could almost say Hoy took a pretty decent role in that side. He was kicking, and he kind of it looked like he's played 100 first grade games. He was ordering the boys around, telling what to do. But there's one thing I don't know. Adam O'Brien's obviously thinking to himself, I want to keep this guy fresh. He's still very young.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of times he was on the extended bench and just couldn't get a run.
Yes, it's true. For the middle to end of the season, it seemed like there was about 6 rounds where he was just hovering. Obviously got his opportunity, but then did his hamstring. Looks that unfortunate photo. Can we bring that photo up and we show it? look, he's a handsome guy, but his hair makes it look like he's got this weird comb over going.
Did someone want to tell him about
Just
that?
tell him that.
Like,
just do that.
Just a school photo. Like, it's always that photographer that could just go, you know what, just
Yeah.
touch that up.
It looks like he's got highlights in there as well. I don't know. I'm fitting as well, but
Fine
it's
specimen.
I'm old. So but Tex Hoy being the other Stafford Toa, I think as everyone forgets that he came into the side as a debutant and fit right in.
He really did. It is when he comes on the wing.
Yeah.
He played that one game last year in that massive defeat to the Penrith Panthers.
Yes, yeah,
I think that was his only game.
Round
Could have been.
26 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and he just coming in this year, and Adam O'Brien's even said it. He's just slotted straight in. It's not like he is a debutant.
He's not green.
He's not green.
Yeah, he seemed like he was the one. So how many tries? You got 4 tries there of 7 games. Is that what he played?
Has a real good crack. Like he just has a crack, and I love people who just have a crack.
There were, I think that's all we want from these players. We know they're coming in. They've only got a handful of games to their name. We just want them to see effort over ability. We can go on, but just to round off, players like Brodie Jones and we talked about. I forgot Chad Randall, Crandall.
Crandall.
We spoke about Crandall. So Chad Randall and as well as Brodie Jones. These sort of defensive efforts that they put forward.
That's one thing. Brodie Jones probably didn't take too many runs early on in his games.
No.
But he was just making his tackles, and then after a while, he ended up putting Pearce through for a try against the Sharks. And I even mentioned to him, "Are you going to just clip that up and save that forever?" And he did say he was planning on doing it, but if he hasn't, I'm sure we can arrange that.
I'm sure we can put it on a highlights package for you, Brady. It's an incredible. He came on with a huge map in that Penrith game. It was like a baptism of fire. That Penrith game.
Go into the cauldron.
Yeah, making over 50 tackles. And proving and then even coming on the Sharks game, watching him, he was doing like plenty of talk in defence. Like he seemed like he was asserting his role, and he was a boy from Cessnock. He's from Cessnock, Curry, one of the two. And Maitland, they're all somewhere out there.
I love to see it, and I'm sure a lot of I'm not a Newcastle boy. I've migrated. I've migrated to Newcastle, and I've always been a Newcastle Knight fan.
Yeah.
And even when I was out in the bush, where no one knew where Gilgandra was, that is where the moment I was just thinking in my head, I really like when there's local talent in that side.
Yeah,
and when Brodie Jones come through, I was just like, I like this. I like
Country
it a lot.
boy,
Yeah,
good country boy, made of steel. But when we're talking about supporters that start supporting the Knights that are not from Newcastle, we like to just say
gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? Indeed, it's it manages to bring out the best, I think, in a lot of people. So the squad itself. You could even put Pasami Solo in that sort of younger coming through. I don't even know if he's re-signed next year. So let's look. Forwards not backwards, not forwards twirling, always twirling into next year.
Yes.
And I think we've got some.
Here we go, off contract
people. So the problem with having all these juniors coming through all around the same age and trying to get that balance of experience to that, and there's been lots of calls from many of the supporters pages saying, who do we keep and who do we let go, and where's the direction going? So, but if we look at before we jump into that, so we'll just look at who we've lost for the season just gone. So Herman Sasa is no longer going to be playing for the Gold Coast Titans, but he seems like he's the only player of the last 5 years that has just filled his contract, not played particularly badly, but we haven't re-signed him, and he hasn't retired. He's just gone to another club, and that's not typically what happens to Newcastle. Typically people come here, retire, and then die. And then it just seems like that's...
He's doing something similar.
Is the Gold Coast Titans the cemetery of the Newcastle
Look,
Knights?
when he first signed for the Gold Coast Titans, I thought, oh, okay, he's coming to the Titans. And then they decided to turn things around.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
So it might be a good signing for him, but wish him well.
We got Angie McCulloch, obviously, who was... and also, shout out to McCulloch and Blake Green, who just had these cameos but sort of put themselves into Knights folklore.
I'm not gonna lie. Every other time Newcastle have decided to bring in one of those players, like an Andrew McCulloch or a Blake Green,
Like Craig Gower.
yeah, like a Craig Gower. That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Flop.
Yes.
So, and these guys, yes, they got injured, but gee, did they play well?
They played tough football, and we wanted more from Blake Green, and I was devastated when McCulloch had a horrifying injury in the pouring rain. We shouldn't have been playing. Should be an inquiry into
should
this.
have been called off.
But if we look at the players that have gone, I feel like obviously with Tim Glasby, huge loss there with concussions.
Yeah.
It was Tim Glasby's a relatively young man as far as the remainder of his life's concerned, rather than the remainder of his NRL career. Like, he's an old NRL player, but he's a young man, and he's been dealing with these sort of echoes of concussion for the entire year. It's a real blight on the game, I think, if you will. Like,
Did not see it coming
No,
at all.
no.
He was one of those players, like, yes, he got concussed, and then I thought, okay.
I thought it was playing Origin, though.
Yeah,
He's
he's played Origin. He's
tough. He's made tough as nails.
And that concussion he had, which when you watch it, doesn't look very severe, but he comes off for a HIA, doesn't come back, and that was it. That's
his career done and dusted. So the big hats off to Tim Glasby, because I would have loved to see him for another year. But if you look at this, the players that are finishing off. So if you don't count Blake Green and McCulloch, who were more stopgaps in the season. Glasby to an unforeseen injury, moving Herman SASA along, Aiden Guerra retiring, and I think we can all agree we love to see Aiden play, and he probably brought a lot of players to the club. However, we probably got the best out of Aiden Guerra at that end of his career.
We did. We definitely got the best out of Aiden Guerra.
If there was, if he wanted to play on, there probably would have been a small portion of us going, well, it's half of your brain going, maybe re-sign him. He seems like a really nice Italian boy with a marinara sauce pouring out his pores, but at the same time, he did look like he was a bit banged up and bruised, and from that ankle injury, especially last year.
Is it just me, or every time he got tackled, it almost was as if he was never going to get back up? He was on his haunches every time, and I thought to myself, come on, Aiden, just one more run. That's all we're asking for.
It's the salt in the blood, you see. It's fatiguing. But did put it wasn't Heimel over for the try. No, it was
Heimel.
Heimel hung over for the try at the end.
How about the kick?
But the kick,
and the
conversion,
right.
where was that?
Where was he when Ponga wasn't kicking well?
No, right? I tell you what. But if we look at the gains, Tyson Frizzell, the man mountain himself, and Dominic Young, someone that's actually on paper bigger than Tyson Frizzell.
Surprisingly.
So it seems like if you look at it as far as value added or value subtracted, I feel like we're going to next year with a better side.
And I feel that we've re-signed the players that are going to be here long term, which is exactly what the Knights weren't very good at doing before.
So sorry, Josh, you got a.
Do you think Tata Moga?
Tao Mogan is going to stick around.
He's going to stick around.
Have we not mentioned Tao?
What are your thoughts there?
Oh, we're going to tap.
Have we got another? So if we look at off contract at the end of this year, so players that will not be at the club next year, that still might be re-signed in this interim period. So we go through Brody Jones. We talked about. We'd love to see a bit more Brody.
Yeah.
Heads and shoulders, knees and toes. Brody Jones. There's. Joshua King managed to get the try against the Sharks. I think won everyone over. A bit of a Cinderella story as far as a full circle.
I love Josh King.
Isn't he just? He's just wonderful.
I love him. He's just a genuine nice guy.
He was a real gentleman.
Country boy.
He's a country. Yeah. And,
love my country boys.
I think as Barry Toohey said, like he's got to be the smartest prop he's ever spoken to.
I know he is switched on.
Yeah. Which doesn't put him at the. It's like you're the.
That might be his problem.
Best of a bad bunch. Like if you're the smartest prop, you know what I mean? Like it's just you're one of So look, Mason Lino, we've been giving Dickie Knee a lot of shtick on this show because he's only 4 foot tall and wears a hat everywhere. But look, at the same time, I just feel like he was playing out of position. I think he's a halfback. I think he would have played a lot better if he was filling in for Mitchell Pearce. But instead, we pushed him out to 5'8", and we had these two halfbacks sort of going, "Oh, I don't know what to do." Sorry, Mason. I'm sure you'll do very well at another club. Unless Pearce is injured, I don't see you have a place in the side. Tao Moga.
Tao.
The man so nice they named him Tao Tao. He was definitely, when he came to the club, I thought this was going to be great. He was dominant centre.
He had a stellar year before he came to the Knights.
And they let him go, and you start to think, okay. You didn't realise his knees were like toothpicks.
Didn't realise he
Slapped cab drivers. Well, that went to court, didn't it? They did slap him. I can say that. It's not conjecture. And then we've got Crandall, Tyrone Roberts-Davies, who we didn't see any of this season. Connor Watson, who I believe we have re-signed at some stage. I can't.
he will be re-signed.
He will be re-signed. Here we got it exclusive. He will be re-signed. Now, I was floating a rumour around that he will be traded for Josh Reynolds. And I'm sorry for starting that rumour online.
Now you've got Newcastle fans outraged.
Yeah, Liam was about to board a plane. I told him my theory about that, and he said, "If that
I'm coming home."
Well, I think he said he'd let a bomb off on the plane. So if the plane goes down between here and Canada, you know what's happened, and
I
that's
can tell you what happened when you told him.
what.
When you pressed that
What Liam said. He said, I can't find the thing. Oh, here we go.
262 Wendama 161.
Thanks, Liam.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
He almost choked on the tray service from the flight. And so, look, there's some players there that we have seen and we hope to see some more of again. And I think there's a few players there that will probably make that extended squad, in that 28-man squad, and get a good opportunity to come back in again. To look a little bit further out from the Newcastle Knights, knowing now that we're down to 6 in Penrith, Melbourne, Parramatta, Sydney Roosters, Canberra Raiders, and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Who is the mover and shaker, and who's the favourite? Who's your dark horse, and who's your shining light?
I'm going to say it's going to be the two teams that have already advanced through to the prelims. I think that's going to be the grand final. Penrith v Storm.
Penrith v Storm.
I just think it's going to be hard to separate them.
Yeah.
Who have we got this week? We've got the Roosters up against the Raiders. Look, I'd love to see the Raiders get over here.
Yep.
If the Raiders go through, I'm on the green machine.
The green machine.
I'm on the green machine.
I'm still devastated that the big horn, is just an automated sound and not someone blowing.
I only just realised that. Yeah.
Did you not know this?
What a lie.
Who's stonewalling this investigation?
There was the only time I realised is when they went to do the horn, and old mate hadn't even got his mouth on it, and then the sound came out, and I was like, "Hang on a second, there's got to be some investigation into this."
My big thing was when Mal Meninga blew it, I think for the grand final last year, and I was like, "Oh, it'll be loud when the Mal blows it like an idiot."
This one will be extra loud.
Yeah, it's like then you start to think it's like they're getting strangers and fans to blow on this horn. Of course, you're not going to make this.
It's not the same sound. It's the same sound every week.
The amount of air that you'll need from your lungs to make this giant horn sound is ridiculous. Obviously, it's just an automated sound. So, but look, that's still Canberra Raiders were robbed last year, in my opinion. I think they did enough. So I think get him in there for another shot at the big dance.
The big dance,
rather than the small dances where we dropped out during the nut bush. The big dance is something.
I was good at the nut bush, so that's I will take that.
That's where the Knights could make it. The big dance, I guess, is sort of like the point at the wedding where when the "I Had the Time of Your Life" song came on, and then people make room to try to replicate the male will lift the female up and hold it, but they can never replicate it because it's incredibly difficult. You need core strength from both people and balance, and it's practiced. Don't try to do it with a suit jacket on. You'll tear your jacket, and some will fall on top of you.
And it could be a higher jacket as well, so you got to return.
That's right.
So
You've got to return that.
Yeah, you got to return that.
It's good.
Have some common sense.
The very jacket you're looking to return. It's a wonderful film, though. Dirty Dancing. I'll tell you what. Yeah, look, it does it seamlessly. You can tell he's a bit shaky there.
Look, yeah, he's struggling.
She was from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She was the sister, right? Yeah. Matthew Broderick was dating her after the movie, and they ran over someone and killed them. Yeah, vehicular manslaughter, Matthew Broderick. Vehicular manslaughter. We haven't forgotten. Yeah. And we haven't forgotten about 1998's Godzilla either. Yeah, not 97, Godzilla either. I must have been looking at the VHS tape or something. Nick Totopoulos, whatever, the worm guy with your beret. I watched it recently. You haven't got it on DVD that we can bring it.
I don't.
Gee, it's getting hot in here, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is quite warm, yeah.
We've done nothing to rectify this. This is what you get for the last episode, guys. So I have to agree. I think it'd be great if the Canberra Raiders go through. I think we're all hoping that I think there's part of us that hopes that South make another stab at it, and you think like if South beat Parramatta by convincingly, you start to think, well, hang on a second. Well,
Can they do it?
well, wait, and you start thinking, well, the Knights weren't that bad off. 20 to 46. If a few calls went our way.
That's all. But it always happens, isn't it? The side that eliminates you, it's like if they go really well, we weren't far off.
We weren't. We're just unlucky with the draw. There's a couple of things. Once the dust has now settled on a certain Ben Cummins, now a performance refereeing. Now I completely accept that it was the Knights. Yeah, the Knights' ability not to win that game. But please don't ref the grand final. It's as a fan of the game.
Not just a Knights fan anymore.
And I'll take the scuff because it is hot. It's a fan, not of the team, but of the game. NRL, please don't give them the grand final. He mucked up last year's, right, grand final.
Yep.
If you give him an opportunity again and something happens and he makes the wrong call, they'll want him drawn and quartered and hung.
He just needs to have a year off.
Just give him, don't just say, look, you've done, thanks for refereeing this entire year. You haven't made too many errors, but we can't risk it again.
He just can't risk that one bad call.
It's the worst case scenario is just too much. Look, I was talking to Liam actually, and I said, Liam, what did you think about a couple of Ben Cummins calls on the weekend? And he said,
262 went down by 161.
classic Liam, I tell you what.
So spot on.
It was
man.
bloody Ben Cummins. He's just there was only a few moments that he's actually sweating just as much as I am right now. Thank God we cracked a window. He made only a few. There was only a few bad calls, but when you come to finals, it's just an unforgiving audience. You can't let an opportunity like this, and there's going to be too much pressure on the person. I don't hate a person. I don't ill wish on this person. I did call him a weak man earlier in the season, but that was probably due to intoxication. I don't want to do that again. I think. Oh Jesus! Where you going, Pom? But it's always the same angle with you, Pom, isn't it?
You've zoomed in on every photo like that.
We better quickly jump off. Please, Ben Cummins, please don't referee the game. There's other referees available. If we can just move on to someone else. Do you agree?
I totally agree. I think there's surely someone else putting their hand up, just going me.
And they're like, he's a grand final referee. It's like, give it to someone else. Suddenly they are. As soon as they take the field,
Ben, you've had a turn.
Yeah,
stop it.
It's like, give it to your brother. Give the whistle to your brother. He wants to go himself.
Give it to Gavin Badger for his final year.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
What a swan song.
Everyone loves a swan song. We had so many of them in rugby league for so many years.
They always talk about the players when they're in their final year. And wouldn't it be nice if they made the grand final?
Yeah.
But what about the referee? No one ever thinks about the referee's final match.
That's right. There's everyone always talks about who was the big ref that refed everything.
Bill Harrigan.
Bill Hollywood Harrigan.
Yeah,
and then I was always a Tim Mander fan. I thought Tim Mander did a good job. And then but I just don't see anyone like that in today's game.
No, there's no
so
really standout personality referee anymore. I don't think.
No, we're past it. Maybe Badge will be remembered as bring Badge back.
Yeah, come on, Badge,
get him back. Who was the guy that looked like Mr. Bean? That was someone.
Who was the
Simpkins? No.
Who was the one that got knocked out?
Yeah,
Tony
Carroll.
Delahara.
Yeah. Tony Carroll's knee. That was wonderful to see, wasn't it?
What a
I mean,
moment.
we're not wishing ill on anyone, but it was just
history.
But Paul Simpkins,
Ashley Klein.
Look, we can go on for days.
That I like.
He's a police officer.
Is he?
Tim Mander was a police officer too. Now he's a Queensland politician.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's probably not going to come back to the game where he's got tens of thousands of people shouting at him. He's just got tens of thousands of people voting for him, I guess. Now, awful referee. Quick look at while we're looking at that, quick look at Origin.
Yes.
So because the team's starting to form now as teams are dropping out. Players have been pushed forward to Origin. Big congratulations to Daniel Safita being selected for the second year in a row for the squad of New South Wales.
Well done.
He has a certain aggressive flamboyance that I feel like you need as a prop. He runs and bends that line and just he reminds me of like someone like a really aggressive prop like a Marco Emilio 04, like someone that just looks damaging every time he takes the ball up.
He just launches himself off the line as well. It just looks like he genuinely wants to hurt people sometimes.
And I think he does.
I'm not gonna say he shouldn't do it.
Maybe, and look, without comparing Fijians, he might be like a young Petro, and he might just as he gets older, just gets more hardened, and his bones just seem to be made of granite, and he's people break their arm over his head, like it happened with that. But there was a huge admission out of the side with the Newcastle Knights in the place of David Clemmer. Now, we spoke about this briefly before the show, how David Clemmer, we all saw the season that he had, and we started to think, oh, well, then was he that stand-up prop? It seemed like Daniel and then Jacob were playing so well, but David just sort of went through his work like very sort of workman-esque, I think, and just with no fanfare. But looking at the stats,
he had a great year. A great year.
A better year than he had last year.
You think about it, in past years, or when he's been at the Knights and the Bulldogs.
And the Bulldogs,
he has been the standout prop. He's been the one that everyone keeps an eye on because the people around him aren't really pulling their weight. They're not doing as much as David Clemmer. They're not standing out as much. This year, he's got Daniel Saifiti next to him, who's got all the attention. Then we've got Jacob having a standout year.
Yeah.
And we've got Mitch Barnett, and then you've got Lachlan Fitz. A lot of people playing some good footy.
Yes.
And, well, David Clemmer doesn't need to do anything. He's not standing out as much because he's got everyone else around him doing really well. But you look at the stats, and you're just like, this man is a workhorse.
The post-contact meters leading the comp with 1,531. With the next closest being Jason Tamalolo.
Look at the top 5, and there's no other Queenslander or New South Welshman in the top 5.
That's true. They got two people. Oh, James Fisher-Harris. He's New Zealander.
And then you got Takiaho from New Zealand and Burgess from England.
So but just having I know he might have played a few more games than Tamalolo, but Tamalolo's stats are enormous to get him on post contact. Coming in second there on offloads there with 45. Obviously coming second to Junior Paulo, another New Zealander, I think. He's not going to be seeing it. So, and the next one, Marty Zapau, 35. So going 10 up on from second to third is a huge effort. And then I believe he's second or maybe third in total running meters.
And Clemmer wasn't an offloader.
No.
I wouldn't.
Not last year.
He's not an offloader.
No.
And then this year, his game went to another level.
I don't think Nathan Brown was a fan of the offload.
No.
I think, and so
tuck the ball in.
He was given a bit of a license to offload. So running meters is coming fifth. So I had to use the math. But then also looking at the total running meters, but still leading the comp in post contact meters. You look at that, he is the dominant runner. And if you look ahead, Fisher-Harris, obviously New Zealander, and then 3 fullbacks.
So who do you think's taken Clemmer's spot?
Well, someone with a bit more, I don't know, gusto.
Aggression?
Yeah, well, he got through every game this year. Didn't miss a game, David Clemmer. It just seemed like he managed to have a better game than he's had probably the last 2 seasons, but still miss out.
Do you think this is just in my thoughts? This could start a rumor.
Yeah, please.
Do you think
this is my new thing now? No podcast, rumors only.
Let's start a rumor.
Yeah.
Do you think because they've got to go into a bubble?
Yeah.
Do you think David Clemmer wants to go into another bubble?
Oh, you think maybe he's like a bit of a
maybe he said to Fittler, you know what? I don't know if I want to go in the bubble because I've got to be away from my family.
Yeah.
I've got to go to Adelaide.
Yeah.
Then I've got to go to Brisbane. Oh no! Then I've got to go to Sydney, then to Brisbane.
Yeah.
That's another.
A lot of travel, a
that's
lot of bubbles.
3 weeks. Yeah, you don't want another bubble. His
like
bubble's just been burst, so he doesn't want to go into another bubble.
It's like being in a bath.
If he gets
full of bubbles.
if he gets into another bubble, is he going to be concerned that bubble isn't going to burst?
I think he's at in the point of his career. A lot of people think, oh, is he winding down? He's 26. I think you get the best out of props at 28. We've got this prop pairing of the Safitis, and I count them as one person, and David Clemmer. I think next year we're on to bigger and better things with these two. I think it's they've been consistent performers and probably forgotten about performers as well, because he just seems to do it again and again, and he's set show it. He's that's the kind, he does the work that no one else wants to do, the hard stuff in the middle.
Could Junior Paulo be his replacement? He's been the one. Imagine if it's just like, sorry mate, you just didn't beat him in that one stat. We're going with Paulo.
We're going with Paulo. Sorry, did Junior Paulo also try to appear for the third grade rugby union?
Yeah, he was the one that tried to play rugby with the headgear on.
With the headgear on, thought, man, no one's going to recognise me. My name's Junior, I've got headgear on, I'm playing third grade rugby in Sydney. I'll match with everyone.
And I've scored 5 tries.
But also had a brilliant stats, made 712 tackles, 95.4% effective efficiency. And I think there was at least 7 games, I read a stat before, 7 games at least that he did not miss a tackle. Which is huge for a prop defending in the middle, making this huge match.
I don't think I went through a whole game without missing a tackle.
Well, that's it. It's part of the, it's part of the thing as you do. But who do you see as a bit of a bolter for New South Wales? Anyone else that you'd like to see in the side?
Well, I was going. Zach Lomax, he was one to mind, and he's been picked, so I would probably say him. I'm trying to think. Well, Katoni Staggs was going to be my bolter as well, but he got injured. I think the bolter's already bolted.
Lomax seems to be the one.
He seems to be already there.
I was hoping for best, but at the same time, I don't want him to rush in that side.
Ooh, yeah.
He's got another year in him. Let him just at least finish growing.
Yeah, just grow.
Just grow, Bradman Best. That's all we're asking you to do. And it's got to be an exciting Blues series. I'm hoping for 3-0. Are you hoping for 3-0 as well?
100%.
100%. I'm really hoping. I think it might have been Sam or Josh that said that we hope that we don't get fattied like at 95, fattied, where Queensland side's got no players. They come in with the likes of Ben Eichen at 17 years old and then manage to win 3-0.
And Wayne Bennett's back in the last...
Not playing, is it?
Ben Eichen might be playing. Well, that's how low they are at 5'8", so they might bring him in.
Wayne Bennett, last time he coached, he brought in the young guns, and they upset the Blues, so that might be the concern, and Wayne Bennett's probably going to have to go with the young guns again.
I think that's all he's got. By the end of the Origin series, we're suddenly almost all the way back to looking ahead for a few months wait back to NRL again. 2020 has been such an interesting year, but it's also been a bit of a blip on the radar, I think, because I think 2021 is going to be flying around the corner with the pinnacle of the game being the grand final and the State of Origin series all happening in the next 4 weeks. It's going to be great to see. You won't see any of us, though, because the Joust is going on a hiatus. We will try our very best to get back to you in some sort of way that might look a bit different, but it'll also be on a podcast via camera and also audio platform. It's keeping our options very much open. So if you've liked us, thank you very much. If you watched us, thank you very much. And if you've commented and jumped into the sack, thank you very much. There's so many people to thank. Thanks very much for the guests, especially Adam Murray. Thank you very much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to have you. Pleasure to see you. Never a chore. And big thank you for all our guests this season, including Andy Paskin and the people that filled in for myself as well, including Sam Cupid and Nathan Wright, gorgeous Nathan. There was... Carlo, of course. It was my favourite guest. Carlo. Hashtag Bronze for Johns. Thank you very much, Carlo. Was there another guest we had? I think we had someone, wasn't there? Now I'm going to remember it after recording. Apologies for you if you're waiting for the name. It's been a marvellous time. And the 2 gentlemen to my left.
Sharks fan.
The Shark... Oh, yeah, I forgot his name.
The Sharks fan.
Sharky McSharksman. Thank you very much.
Paul Gallen.
Paul Gallen. I've forgotten you, God. We can get it up. Surely we'll find it.
Someone find the Shark Man.
Thank you to Ryan Cox. We know him as Pom. Our very own Jamie bringing everything up that we were requested at a moment's notice, and it could be everything from Fluffy, your fabric softener, if you want to get your stains cleaned and your fabric softened. Fluffy, heart and soul, anything like this.
Hand and skin wipes.
He's managed to bring it up. Get Shark. We don't have his name.
Get Shark.
Isn't it?
Ethan Andrews.
Ethan Andrews.
Thank you, Ethan, for coming on. Thank you, Josh Balico, for hosting us every year and putting together this wonderful set. It's been an absolute... And a big thank you to the Commonwealth Hotel for joining us for another season. We love you, and I'll be going there straight after this show. I'm not even lying. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you a show every week. Liam, do you have any final words?
262 Wendama 161.
Oh, classic Liam. You're just bloody... Where do we go from here?
What did Liam say again?
Oh, no, something about... no, I'm not picking up Liam. No, I'm not doing it. It's an overseas call. We'll find a way back to your screens and your speakers soon, but I don't know how it's going to look. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you all. This is a signing off.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Adam. Cheers.
No, thank you.
Good night.